Okay, this is a continuation from exercise 6.08, converting rates. Just some worded problems. Question 6, Usain Bolt ran 100 metres in 9.58 seconds in 2009. What was his speed in kilometres per hour? I'm going to do this question in two ways. So the first one is just write down what we've got. We know that 100 metres in 9.58 seconds. Now, we're trying to work out his speed in kilometres per hour. Well, we can easily change this metres into kilometres because we know that 1,000 metres equals 1 kilometre. So to convert from metres to kilometres, you get a smaller number, we need to divide by 1,000. So 100 divided by 1,000, I'm just going to divide this by 1,000, that's 0.1 of a kilometre. So when we say that Usain Bolt ran 100 metres in 9.5 seconds, it's the same as saying he ran 0.1 of a kilometre in 9.58 seconds. Now, we're trying to see his speed in kilometres per hour. At the moment, we know his speed in kilometres per 9.58 seconds. How am I going to get to 1 hour from there? Well, there's a few ways I can do this. If I work out what 1 second is, and then I know that to go from 1 second to a minute, I times by 60. And to go from minutes to hours, I times by 60 again. So 1 second, if you times by 60, you get 60 seconds, which is a minute. And if you times by 60 again, you get 60 minutes, which is an hour. Okay, so instead of doing this in two separate steps, let's do it in one step. Okay, so to go from 9.58 seconds to 1 second, we're going to divide by 9.58. So we need to divide 0.1 kilometre by 9.58. This is going to be quite a small answer, and we get 0.010438, etc. Just keep that number in your calculator. That answer would be in kilometres. So I'll just write the kilometres down here. Kilometres in 1 second. So 0.1 kilometres in 9.58 seconds is the same as 0.010438 ... kilometres in 1 second. Please keep that number in your calculator, because to go from 1 second to 1 hour, we're timesing it by 60 to get to a minute, timesing it by 60 again. So we're timesing this number by 60 twice. So just keeping that answer in your calculator, go times 60 and times 60 again. And then we get 37.578 ... kilometres in 1 hour. Now, the question says to give his speed in kilometres per hour corrected 1 decimal place, so that would be 37.6. So therefore, to 1 decimal place, it's 37.6 kilometres per hour. That's your answer. Now, there is another way of doing this question. So I'll start with what I've got. Again, I've got 100 metres in 9.58 seconds. So there is another way of doing this. So I'm just going to put that this is another method. What we do, we just convert each of these into the units that we want. So we have 100 metres in 9.58 seconds, but we want to know the speed in kilometres per hour. So what we do, we say that, so we do two separate conversions over here. We go 100 metres equals 100 divided by 1,000, which is 0.1 of a kilometre. So we replace the 100 metres with 0.1 of a kilometre. But the thing here is 9.58 seconds. We know that there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. We say that it's now 60 times 60 is 3,600. So 60 times 60 is 3,600. So that means we've got 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So if you want to go from seconds to hours, okay, notice we've got less hours than seconds, and the conversion is 3,600. You have to divide your seconds by 3,600. So we can say that 9.58 seconds is 9.58 divided by 3,600 hours. So I'm not going to work out the answer to that, but I'm just going to put it here. So it's 9.58 divided by 3,600. I'm just going to put it in brackets. So that's another way you can do this sort of question. You can convert the metres to kilometres, and you can convert the seconds to hours, and then you just divide the two quantities. So if I want to do this on my calculator, I'll go 0.1, use my divide button, And then I'll use my fraction button to do 9.58 over 3,600. Okay, so just working that out now, I get 37 point, again, the same answer, 0.578, etc. And of course, it's kilometres per hour. Rounded to one decimal place, 37's a 0.6 kilometres per hour. Okay. Now for question 8. Okay, this is question 8. It says a world record for water. Sorry, let's fix that up. Okay, it says a world record for water speed is 250.7 knots. Now that means 250.7 knots. The units knots are nautical miles per hour, which means in 1 hour. So they're the units for the world record for water speed. 250.7 knots. And in brackets, you can see it says that knots are nautical miles per hour. So this was achieved in 1977. Okay, it says now to convert 250.7 knots or nautical miles per hour to kilometres per hour. So we have to convert this to kilometres per hour. So the hours are going to stay the same, but the nautical miles need to be converted into kilometres. Now we know, we can see the conversion that 1 nautical mile, sorry about this, I'll just fix this up. 1 nautical mile, you can see here, equals 1.852 kilometres. So if 1 nautical mile is 1.852 kilometres, if you're converting from nautical miles to kilometres, you times, it's getting bigger, you times by 1.852. So we times this by 1.852, and it will still be, I'm just changing the way that 250.7 nautical miles looks. This is still the same distance, but it's just now written in kilometres. So I go 250.7 times 1.852, and that is 464.2964 kilometres in 1 hour. And the question is convert that 250.7 knots to kilometres per hour. So now it is in kilometres per hour. They want it to 1 decimal place. Therefore, it's 464.29 would be 0.3 kilometres per hour. So that's your answer for part A. Now part B, it says at what speed, and it's how far did, in other words, at that speed, how far to the nearest metre did the hydroplane travel in 1 minute? So we know that the plane will travel we're just going to use the rounded off answer, 464.3 kilometres in 1 hour. We want to know at this speed, how far does the plane travel in 1 minute? Well, to go 1 hour is 60 minutes. So to go to 1 minute, we divide by 60. So we divide this also by 60. So we'll just take this answer, 464.3, divide it by 60. And we get 7. They want this to the nearest metre. This is still in kilometres, so 7.733, etc., 3 recurring kilometres in 1 minute. I need this in how far to the nearest metre does it travel in a minute. So we know that 1,000 metres, sorry, that's off screen. We know that 1,000 metres equals 1 kilometre. So if I want to convert this quantity to metres, going from kilometres to metres, I get a bigger number. I need to multiply by 1,000, just for that one. So just keeping that answer in your calculator, times it by 1,000. And we will get 7733.3 recurring metres in 1 minute. So to the nearest metre, this is 7,733 metres per minute, or in 1 minute. That's a fair distance. So that's the answer to B, part 1. Now for B, part 2. How far does the hydroplane travel in 1 second? Well, if it travels that far in a minute, I'm actually going to use the unrounded answer. So for part 2, 7733.3 recurring metres in 1 minute, I need to know how far the plane travels in a second, so 60 seconds in a minute. So divide by 60 will give me 1 second. Divide this by 60, so dividing by 60, I get 128.8 recurring meters in 1 second. If we want that to the nearest meter, that would be 129 meters in 1 second. Okay, sorry, just coming back here, this is 7.738. Sorry, I just wrote that out wrong. So 464.3 divided by 60 is 7.738 with a 3 recurring on the end. So this is 7738.3 recurring, which is 7738, and this here is also an 8. I just wrote that down wrong, but this final answer still is correct. So just coming back down here, it's all correct, just a transcription error.